Hello. I'm Chris with the Legacy team, and today we're going to be producing a component for a pretty awesome project called the drop leaf table. And we're going to focus on turning the table legs today. So this is going to be done on the Maverick E-Series using the turning center module option. So let's go put a blank in the system and see how this is produced. All the legs for the drop leaf table are being mounted into the turning workstation between centers with a faceplate ring and a self-centering 4-jaw chuck. It's being supported on the tailstock end with a 60-degree live center cone. As a common rule, we oversize our blanks by 1/4 of an inch larger than the largest diameter section of the spindle. That way we don't accidentally have any flat sections that don't get turned around. The first cutter is an 1.25 inch surfacing cutter, and it does 2 procedures, roughing and finishing when it comes to turning round or machining flat. Throughout this cutting demonstration, we opened up the dust brushes so that you can see all the cutting action. Now here we can see that it quickly roughed out the material, removing those corners and turning the top of the leg with a nice smooth finish. The difference between a roughing and a finish is the amount of material that it removes per rotation. For example, in a finish pass where we care about the actual surface quality, we're only stepping over 1/8 of an inch per rotation. Whereas on the roughing passes, we're stepping over 3/8 of an inch per rotation. We don't care about the surface quality, we just need to quickly remove that material as fast as possible. The entire leg is programmed in Legacy's Conversational Cam Pro software. Now, a couple advantages can be seen here. One of them is when it's plunging the surfacing cutter at the beginning of each turned round section, it actually rotates the blank so that the edge of the cutter is climb cutting towards the square surface. The opposite is happening on the other end. It's rotating in the opposite direction to ensure that if there was material on the right side of the cutter, that the material would be climb cutting directly into the tool. Another trick that Conversational Cam Pro automatically incorporated into the cutting is that before the cutter travels down the length of the stock to turn it around, the cutter actually shifts slightly off center in the Y-axis so that when the cutter is coming across the top face of the material, it's not performing a cross grain cut, but is actually sweeping with the grain of the material. This gives you less tear out and a much smoother finish even during roughing passes. These are a few of many advantages that Legacy's Conversational Cam Pro software gives our CNC customers when turning spindles. Now that the blank is completely roughed out to a general shape, we can finish all the fine details. Next, we're going to use 2 1/4 inch cutters. The first is a 1/4 inch down spiral cutter that will be used to machine the flat surfaces at a 90-degree angle from one another. This is where the mortises are going to take place in order to join the rest of the table to the table legs. Next, a 1/4 inch up spiral cutter is now going to machine the pocket mortises on the flat surfaces. The final detail of creating the curvature shape of the actual table leg can be produced by using a combination of cutters. Here we decided to simplify things by using a single cutter to do the entire turning process. This is an 1/8 inch tapered ball cutter, and it's simply going to start at the top of the round section and turn the contour turning process all the way down to the foot. Unlike other 4-axis indexing centers that control everything by degrees, our turning center can work in 2 different modes. So this turning method is exclusive to Legacy, in which we are turning the A-axis on, similar to a lathe, to where it's rotating at a constant RPM. And then we have the program moving the X, the Y, and the Z axis for the tapered ball cutter as it's constantly rotating to create that curvature shape. Thanks to the power and simplicity of Conversational Cam Pro, This entire leg took less than 30 minutes to produce. Conversational cam is one of the main features that sets Legacy's turning center apart. This turning center module can be added to your CNC, specifically the Maverick E-Series, at any time, and Legacy's conversational cam software is included with that turning workstation. The reason why conversational cam is so powerful is because we can use cutter-shaped profiles on both indexing and turning techniques. This gives the user the ability to produce the spindles the fastest way possible while keeping the surface quality as high as possible. And this table leg turned out great. Now all that's left over is simply doing some sanding and assembly with the rest of the project, and we'll do that in other videos showing this project come to life. But I'm just going to repeat that for 3 more spindles, and we now have this all the legs necessary for the project. Now, if you're interested in learning more about a Legacy CNC and what it can do for your woodworking capabilities or business opportunities, I recommend you visit our website at legacywoodworking.com. If you have any questions, such as what size of machines do you have, what's the capabilities of the systems themselves, what's available as options that you can add later, all those things can be answered by a CNC expert by calling 801-491-0010. But you can also leave any comments or questions right down below. Now, if you'd like to see more cutting demonstrations like this, don't hesitate to click right over there. And obviously, if you want to be notified when new videos like this come out, you're always welcome to give us a like, subscribe, and check that notification box. As always, thank you for watching, and remember, Legacy solves more woodworking problems than any other CNC manufacturer in the industry.